Well, hello everyone, my fellow artists or art appreciators. Welcome back to my channel. Um, Good morning. At least it's good morning for me. It is Monday today, and I just want to do a little bit of artwork before I start regular work. So I want to share something with you all that I had started in my lovely dovely journal. So this is my journal. It's handmade paper, sorry, handmade paper. It's not watercolor paper or regular sketch paper. I don't know what kind of paper this is, to be honest. Oop, other way, but I love working in it. And it's, like I said, not watercolor, but yet and still I find some way to do watercolor up in this thing. And so I went to church on Sunday with my husband because whatever. And I was doing some neurographic art and lots of other art as well because I wanted to stay awake because I made a bad decision the night before and stayed awake late. I should have gone to bed on time, but like a bad girl, I did not. And then I woke up like 2 hours early because my stomach was hurting. Lovely. So I did a lot of art. I did some neurographic art, and then I took a reference photo and drew everything except the face with a micron pen. And then I drew it again, but with more carefreeness than in the first one. Like, I didn't make the shape of the head for real. I kind of just drew a circle, haphazardly drew the arms and the hands and whatnot. And then on my final page, I drew some more art for fun. This all kept me awake. Actually, the pastor was very funny, so he did keep me awake, but this helped. And then closer to the end of service, I went back to my neurographic piece because I like to do this just to look at it again to see if there's anything else I want to add. But as I looked at it, I felt like I was seeing little flower buds. You know, there are flowers before they bloom, they're in their little circles or oval shapes and everything. And that's what I thought I was seeing. So, what I decided to do then was move on that. So, as you can see, um, I started to faintly draw in little flowers. Some of them I kept as buds, and then I tried my best to like input calla lilies as well. So there's one here and a fat one there, and then a funny shaped one here. So now today what we're going to do is we're going to paint this in. And I'm not 100% sure exactly how we're going to go about it, but we're going to do it because it's obviously not just like a regular garden scene, you know. So that's all we're here for. And I don't know if I have changed the settings on my audio enough for you all to hear everything that I do so that we can have a little, like neurographic, I mean, not neurographic, so we can have a little bit of ASMR. Because I don't know if I'm going to do much talking. If not, I'll just insert some music. So here's this cat's tongue. Mm, okay, I don't think I need anything bigger than that, really. So let's just stick with those two brushes. I've got my soaker sponge and my messy t-shirt. I've got my tiny ceramic um, palette and my waters. They'll be off to the side where you can't see, but that is fine. I'm going to go ahead and wet my brushes now and then just wipe them off a little bit. So the only thing about this notebook is that it doesn't like to stay closed. So, boom, this is the top of my ceramic thing. As you can see, there's paint on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Mm, I don't know where we're going. Also, I think I might want to start this way. And I'm gonna go ahead and just begin with the the spaces in between that don't really have anything. No, 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 no. I think it'd be smarter actually to begin with the flowers. And I think I want them to be pink. So you may not always see me inside my palette. I'm sorry. Actually, I'll just make, I'll bring this back some. Okay. So, and of course, these lines are there from the ink marks, but I think that's okay. So, da, 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 I also just want to take a moment. I know these videos are kind of out of order because you're getting some of my older videos that I had originally posted on my Don May channel, but I really just want to take a moment to thank every single person who has followed me over from my Don May channel. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate you all. And I'm just grateful because, like I told you guys during our live session of reading Thrice Married to a Salted Fish, that I was having a bit of a crisis and having my anxiety flare up pretty bad. And I was worried about being abandoned by you guys once I slash if I stopped any and all Don May content, period. And to see you all supporting me, coming over to follow when you don't have to, because it's not like I'll know who does and who doesn't. Um, well, I guess technically I could know in a way who doesn't, but unless you have it set to public settings, I wouldn't know who subscribes. Um, but you didn't have to, and I'm so grateful to each of you that did. And then I also had to sit and think about it the other day when I texted my sister, and I was like, you know what? Because of my upbringing and certain abandonment issues that I have, it's it makes sense, right? It's logical that I have this fear, whether rational or not after so long. Um, but I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? It was kind of disrespectful to all of my supporters. Which, it's even if you all understand and I understand, and again, my fears are very valid, right? Very understandable. But I guess I'm just saying sometimes when we allow ourselves to fester in our fears, we actually become a little bit disrespectful to those around us because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, everyone is going to abandon me. And that kind of showed, like, again, not because of anything you all have done, but because of myself, how little faith I actually had in you guys. Um, Number one. But number two, it also, again, was just showing like that. I don't know if I want to call it control, but I can't think of a better word. Everyone has a right to not follow me, to not support me, right? If you don't want to. And having that fear of abandonment that you'll go somewhere else, in my mind's eye, this might not be the right word, but it's selfish, you know? Everyone has their right. What if you don't want to follow me? Then you don't have to. Then I need a new audience, is what that means. And so I'm not sitting over here like, oh my gosh, I'm such an awful, selfish person. But I've said before that I do a lot of self reflection. And so that was just something I thought about. And I was like, I need to calm down. Yeah, because people are not required to follow me. Not only that, um, some people just may not be interested. Like, just because we formed a bond in a community and everything doesn't mean you have to support every single thing I do. Like, what about the people who don't really care about visual arts? you know? And so if I think of it that way, then I calm down a little bit as well. Um, anyway, that was my little self-reflection. And so I specifically want to give a thank you again to those of you who are following me. Whether you're following me just to, show a little bit of support, or you're following me because you're actually interested in the content that will be on this channel, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry for having little faith in you. Oh, I forgot a flower over here. Okay, that's fine. Let's get this flower done up. So yeah, those are my reflections for today. I don't think I have anything else to say. And unfortunately, there isn't much to hear. I don't have glass jars that'll go ting ting ting. Look, I'll just tap it for the noise. And I'll figure out later if you guys hear it and I'll adjust my sound later so that hopefully when I'm not talking, there can be little clinks and noises happening. Okay, then there are the ones that are up here. Got it. Other than, of course, when I'm just like talking to myself. Oh, I want to be full on. Yeah, there we go. Ba-ba. And perfect. So we've got all of those done. Now, I'm not all too familiar with calla lilies fully, so I'm actually going to use my phone to look up calla lilies. And I think, oh, all right, white calla lilies for sure. I'm just going to use these as a reference for knowing how to approach painting the ones that I have put here on my thingamabobber. And of course, I see that they are mostly white, so yeah, won't be much painting of those. But the center part of it is kind of orangish yellowy, but not this orange. So let me see if I can tame that down because I don't have yellow on this palette and I don't actually care to bring it out right now. So we're gonna have to make do. I'm gonna work with this calla lily first because this one has the neuro in it, whereas this one doesn't. So for this one, it's gonna be more so painting in shadows, I guess, to bring it to life. And then of course, like some actual green. Mhm. Mm, I think if I want, I can just soften those edges and I am going to mm, see if that gets me a more potent green that I'm looking for. And I'm going to put this color again. Great. And then soften it out. So I'll go ahead and do the stem as well. But yeah, I don't have like straight full on regular green. I just have deep sap green, which sometimes is a little bit too dark. And so I know I could just make green with blue and actually that's what I'm gonna do. Even though I have deep sap green over here, I'm going to use my blue and my raw sienna to make a kind of green, as well as just the actual deep sap green. I don't know, that may have been a waste of time. There's my stem. I think I can go ahead and just use the deep sap green here. Yeah, I think I'm not going to worry too much about the colors and making them like superty duperty. Yes, that's a word. Realistic. Um, because this isn't even a realistic setting we've got here. So then when I get inside of here, I need shadows. Mm, so I'm thinking, maybe I mix the blue and this orange I used. Oh, well, that's like vermilion something or other. So now I'm trying to make. Oh, I also know I have tester paper. Yeah, like it's always so important to have that. Okay, a lot of people. Eh, Yeah, we're gonna go with that and make it super light. Okay. So, boom. Yeah. And then just a little bit of the shadow. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for around the calla lily. Okay, so that calla lily's done. Moving over to this one. Again, we're gonna do that center little thingamabobber, whatever it's called. Okay, and now, okay, I'm just gonna maybe oop, and put a little here. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be too detailed. Oop. So now there's this little bulb here, but I'll just have a stem go past that point and even connect to the flower that's down here. And I'm trying to figure out what color I'm going to make those bulbs. That is something I haven't figured out yet. Or I guess I should make them the same color as these, like they're the flowers that haven't necessarily bloomed yet. That sounds like it's not a bad idea. I'm also just going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so that was one calla lily, the other. Okay, yeah, we're good. So moving back to the flowers, but the little buddy babies. Okay. Mm, a little spot in the middle. I think I'm gonna add just a little. There we go. Now, oh, I forgot about this calla lily. I'll come back to it. Since I've already moved to something else, we're just gonna stay in that vein. Okay. At first, I was thinking about making these like lily pads, but ooh, that was a little too vivid. Oopsie daisy. Let me see if I can just double up somewhere else. Okay, here's another. Oh, gotta make sure I'm letting you guys see what I'm doing, or it defeats the purpose of this video. Okay, I want to put just like a little bit more pigment in certain parts of the flowers, but I think I want to make it a little purplish. So, and that doesn't have to be for every flower. Mm, or maybe I just won't make it on the buds. Who knows? That's amethyst right there, by the way. I feel like there's always just that random bit of amethyst that never goes away on my palette because at one point it was a color I used all the freaking time. I think it's like one of my favorite colors to use, other than Rockwell's Paleba Diamond Blue, which is an amazing freaking color, you guys. Oh my gosh. It's so wonderful. Okay, let's do this calla lily, although obviously it's going to be a bit different. Mm, trying to figure life out with it, but I haven't quite yet. Sure, that's, yep, what I'm going for. Okay, we're gonna do there we go. And then for the, maybe some other shadows or whatnot. I'm not even sure if the shadows are correct or make sense, but anyway, so all of the flowers have been done minus like the stems. So I am going to take some time to do that because I want that connection in each spot. So like here's the stem, even though I haven't done the rest of the flower, I'm trying to figure that out. Um, there's one stem and let's see if I can put a little bit of raw sienna in it just to, there we go. So it's not one note. Go over this one again. Okay. Okay, here we go. So now time to just do all of the stems. And this one happens to be cutting through. Yeah. Okay. And this flower right here, connecting to this one, I think is good. And then we have this flower. Connecting to this bud. Where's another one? Right here. I see. Crossing through the calla lily. I don't know why I made that noise. I thought about adding like other leaves on them as we go down the stems. We'll see. Uh, Here's another. Okay. Here's another. Stops there. Yeah, okay. And this one is long. Mm, yeah. Okay. Um, I don't know if every line needs it, but then I don't know. Maybe it'll feel off if every line isn't like that. So let's go ahead and just add it to all the lines. So all of them will be stems. Bada boom. Okay. Okay, see, that line right there isn't connected to anything, so I guess it would make sense if it's not. Mm. But just because it would make sense doesn't mean that I don't have to stick by that. So, yeah. All right. Next line over here. And we can stop it there. And this one continues. I'll just put it behind that one. Okay. So now all of the lines. Oh, I missed one. Have a little thingy-mabobby. And I think I'll go ahead and add some leaves in here. Well, let me just, okay. Not all of these will have leaves. Do calla lilies even have leaves on them? They don't, so it won't be on the calla lilies. Um, I need a little bit more water on my thingy, clearly. Okay. And maybe that's going too far. I don't know. Let's see. Um, mm, I think I might not need to add the little leaves on the side. So, um, here we go. Now to fill in the spots around, and there's still this calla lily in particular. Hmm. I think. Hmm, I'm trying to figure out how I want to fill in these like other areas. That's so difficult to decide. Oh my gosh. Hmm. Actually, yeah, I'll just fill this whole thing in with this color. That's fine. I might come back and overlay it with other things, but for now, let's just uncomplicate life. These are just my weird looking lily pads. But then down here, obviously, it's mid-autumnal. Okay, maybe around it. I was about to say, what color is water? Water is lots of colors. Um, should I just go for blue? I don't know. Let me think for a moment. I also need to clean this up a little bit. So I will take my shirt. Now, we might in some spaces require the smaller brush, but I think we can move to the bigger one now. I'm going to try one blue and see how I feel about it. I don't remember where I put the water. Oh, I put the water on the other side. Oops. Alrighty. We're going to see how I feel about this blue, which I believe is my cerulean blue. Okay. I'm going to start down here. So maybe it'll be like everything's floating on top of the water. I don't know. This could have been, I don't know, like stained glass effect. But if I just made everything a different color? It's not a bad idea. I'm gonna leave it alone though. I like it when it's quiet in the mornings when I paint, or even at night, although my neighbors usually are stumping irrationally up above me. Um, but just hearing like the quiet of the paintbrush across the paper, I know it's so hard for you guys to hear probably, but I love it. Also, it is currently 10:09 for me. I have about 10 minutes left to do this before I have to get dressed so I can do my 10-minute ab workout before I start work and then turn on my walking pad. Eh, so far, I think I'm feeling this idea of just putting the blue underneath. I do wonder what it would be like if I changed the color of like the next level since I'm like up. I don't know if that would ruin things. But the only way you find out if something ruins or works is to do it. I'm not sure I'm gonna do it. There, I made it a little darker though. And since I made it darker, I'm actually gonna do it just a little bit in here to make it make sense. Okay. Oopsie. I didn't mean to do that. So let me put this over here. Oops, that was an accident. I touched it with my brush and now look what's happened. It's spreading and I don't feel like cleaning it. So I'm just gonna have to be careful. I had some weird dreams last night and I was just like, not today. Can we not dreams? I mean weird, unpleasant weird. And I may add different colors. I mentioned that stained glass effect, which can be easy to do, once the paint dries. If I decide I want to add the other colors in these spots, I can. But I just want to see what it looks like with blue first. And if I like it, I won't touch it. I absolutely love these micron pens, by the way, because they don't bleed. Um, sorry, they don't bleed through the paper, and I greatly appreciate that. Unlike Sharpie, it'd be bleeding through, unfortunately. Mm, let's just do that. All right. So I'm looking at it, and I think it's okay, but mm, I feel like I need something to make the calla lilies pop out more, which maybe would only happen if I have deeper, richer colors around it, if that makes sense. Or maybe I just need to leave well enough alone, you know? But I do want to take a moment. So I do have regular sap green. Just a little bit. This is an awful brand of it. Um, but I do think I want to go over my lily pads with it though. I can see the difference here. Yeah. Okay. So technically, I don't have a lot of time left. Oh, I forgot about the one down here. 1 second. I'm just kind of lily pad lily. Lily pad calla lily. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a shot and see what happens when I add in different colors. So here's a stark color to put around my calla lily. This is vermilion. I'm either about to ruin this or make it great. And if I do this, um, I have to finish it later because I got to get to work soon. Hmm. And, it's just the blue undertone underneath. Hmm. I'm not mad at that. Actually, let me just stay over here really quickly and encompass this flower. I could just not do my quick ab workout, well, and just do the regular walking today. That'll give me a few extra minutes to stay here. Hmm. I do feel like that made the calla lily pop out. So, yes. Let's continue, which means I'm going to do the same color over here. But will I do it for this? Actually, yeah, because these calla lilies are sharing a space in a way. So we'll do it over here. Okay. Okay. And then there's a spot underneath. Boom, boom. Also, I'm just gonna go do this. Okay. Once more. Okay. So that's two sections with this color. I want one more section to have it. Let's see. Somewhere up here. So boom, boom, boom. Let's do it that way. And technically, this line doesn't go all the way down, so I could spread it out into there if I want, and I think I will. Okay, now to pick another color to add to this weirdness I've got going on. I wonder if I'll actually take my raw sienna and put it through places, or actually, let me try doing some deeper blue areas first. And a little bit of that neutral tint. So maybe, yeah. That's the thing I like about art is that it's just a piece of paper. So you can try something out and even discover something cool. But even if something doesn't work out, yeah, it might be a little sucky because it's like, oh man, I really wanted this to be something cool to keep, but now I have to start over or just scrap this. But it's just like you discover greatness, I feel like, through mess ups or through um, trial and error, because maybe something you did this time around, it doesn't work out for what you did for this time around, but it can work for something in the future. And that is something I learned from watercolor artist Mary White. Of course, we make mistakes in art, yeah, but she says, like, don't ever forget your mistakes because what you did in this painting, it might be a good technique that you want for another painting, if you're trying to achieve a certain effect. So remember that so that you can use it next time when the opportunity arises to use it, which I think is pretty solid advice. It's like then with that perspective, you don't see anything as a mess up rather than an opportunity at the wrong door, meant to be at another door. So, um, boom. I'm actually going to use my raw sienna and see what that will be like placing it in here. Yep, there goes that leaf that I had. I think I'm going to leave the sound, I mean, music off of this video in particular. And when I have moments of silence, if you guys could please tell me if you would prefer I put music underneath or if you don't mind the quiet and watching, just let me know. And then I don't know, random mumbling to myself or random humming as I've just done. Let's do it right here. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Dum, dum, dum. Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. When I was just a child in school, I asked my teacher, what should I try? Should I paint pictures? Should I sing songs? Here was her wise reply. Que sera? Dun, 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 dun. Whatever will be. Mm, the future's not ours to see. I'm gonna put pink in here. Que sera, sera. Even though I have pink like in my flowers, I still just want to put pink in. Plus, there will be an undertone of blue, which will give it, like in there, kind of gives it a purplish feel. Maybe not so much here, because I use a lot of pigment. Ay, 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 that's fine. Mm, but I don't ever want to use it where there is like an actual flower. Oh, I'm so out of time, y'all. I start working 2 minutes. I mean, I could start whenever I want, but I'm just timing it with something else. Um, okay. What else? You know what? I have alizarin crimson, which seems, I don't know, but let's try it out. Hmm, I think it seems yes. So I'm gonna put it here as well. It's fine. I can start work a few minutes late, even if a few is 10 minutes late, because I don't want to have to come back to this. I want it to be done because it's just a little project, you know? So, here. Yeah. So I'm covering up that leaf I had originally put. Don't really think they're needed. Also, okay, I'm going to use on this teal blue. Where are we going to put that? I said where as soon as my eyes found a spot and was just like, right there. Right there's fine. I'm glad I get to do this. Um, because usually I would actually record for you guys in the morning on my Danmei channel, which left little room for anything else in the morning. And it's weird. I felt like I got a lot of musical inspiration like later in the evening, even though I could be inspired at any time. But I feel like the best time for me to do my visual arts is in the morning. Again, I still do it at any time of day, but it just feels different in the morning time. And yeah, I have that. Not only that, but again, like I said, I my upstairs neighbors um, you know, were inconvenient. So like reading in the evening, it was hit or miss sometimes because they would just constantly be stomping around and it would be so annoying. And so I was like, yeah, I have to read in the morning. Um, I think I'm gonna just spread this blue all the way throughout this top. Yeah. Yep. Okay. We've got just a few areas left, and I think I want to come back to this vermilion color that I had. Um, I just want to go over the spots where it was once more. I feel like it's a little too faded, but I mean, it was just one layer and watered down a lot. So here we go. Oop, I'm gonna try not to get it in the flower. Okay, I got it a little bit on my Neuro lily pad. That's okay. Oh, and this one, yeah, right. And I got in the flower just a tiny whiny. That's fine. Yes, so now when it comes to, actually, you know what? I think for the remaining spots, this is going to be the color that kind of just pulls, well, I don't know if it pulls everything together, but this is going to be the main color that goes throughout everything, except, oop, that one little spot. I do need that to be a different color. So let's make it, bada boom. Okay. I don't know if y'all could hear that vehicle passing. I did turn down my noise gate and sound limiter to see if maybe I could get you to hear the brushstrokes and everything. So, if that is the result of this, then meow. I think I'll put it on the bigger piece here. Yes. And then that small little section right there, I'm actually going to go ahead and put pink against pink. And then my more potent one. Boom. Uh, and even right in here, I'm gonna do it that way. Yeah. Okay. Back to the star color. Okay. I've just got this one big area left. Then we're done. See, normally I start work at 10:30 and then stop at 2. Or sometimes I'll start at like 10 or 9:30 and adjust accordingly. So I only work 3.5 hours of my operations. Because I just find myself not wanting to work like too far into the afternoon. I like to get regular work out of the way in the morning, but at the same time, I don't like to start work too early because I want my waking hours to be mine. So, here we go. Yeah, I have officially done it. Yeah, perfect. So here we are. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you all can see a little better. Um, but here we go. Also, no, I want this calla lily to also have its own thing going on. Um, so I think I might just paint some colors into this as well. All right, there's one color. And the second color. All right, where's purple? Ooh, that was a bit dark. I don't know if I like that. Hold on. Let me just. Yeah, okay. Technically, that needs. Okay. And I'll even put the main color in here still, just like here and even here and there. And then the rest of it can remain. I don't know. Okay. So here we go. From bottom to top, even though the other painting's upside down. um, I'll face it this way and then also face it this way. So this was my fun little art project this morning. Very therapeutic, very relaxing for me. This is, again, another one of the reasons I love neurographic art because you can either keep it as is or you can step away from it, let it serve its purpose for what it was supposed to do to calm anxiety, relieve stress, make neural pathways connect more in the brain, or you can come back to it and see what you see and go from there. And for me, I find that equally satisfying, if not more, because I always like to see something in my art. Like even going back to, yeah, I don't, okay. Like going back to these started as neurographic pieces. And then I was like, I think I see a face in here. And I added roses and everything. And so I did that. And even with this, I saw the person and the bird mask thing and the brain. And so, like, for me, taking it that next step is always so freaking satisfying for me. I just love it. Like here, I made a weird looking fish. The ones that be having the little shiny thing. Anyway, as you can see, it's built on this page. But yeah, so this was fun for me. I'm, yeah, man. Okay, I don't really have anything else to say. I hope you all enjoyed watching this with me and have a beautiful day and or night. And I don't think I'm going to change my exit tune. So, well, since I'm facing down. Well, I